Hello neighbors, it's Brad here at eTrailer, and today we're taking a look at installing the CURT Trailer Hitch receiver on a 2022 Nissan Pathfinder. Now this is what the hitch is going to look like when it's installed on your vehicle. And the great part is it's a hidden cross tube, so meaning the main bracing portion that bolts to your vehicle is going to be hidden behind the rear fascia, leaving you with only your 2-inch receiver hanging out. So you get all the uses of the hitch without really taking away from the look of the vehicle. And this one, being a 2-inch by 2-inch, is really nice. It's kind of the standard size for a lot of hitches. And so as far as accessories go, you really have a lot of options. So if you're picking up a ball mount, bike rack, or cargo carrier, you will have plenty of choices. But when you have your accessories in place, they're all going to require a 5/8 hitch pin. And the hitch doesn't come with a pin and clip, but a lot of your accessories, when you choose those, will come with a pin and clip. So that's something to think of when choosing accessories. Now, something else to consider is a locking pin and clip, and that way when you have your accessories in, you could lock it in place, leave it on the vehicle, and you don't have to worry about it disappearing in the hands of someone else. Safety chain loops are easily accessible. They're a rolled style, so really easy to get your standard S hooks or even a larger clevis style, no problem when you're hooking up to your trailer. And speaking of hooking up to your trailer, it has decent weight capacities for the hitch. It's rated at a gross trailer weight rating of 6,000 pounds, which is going to be the weight of the trailer plus the accessories loaded. Your tongue weight is going to be the weight pushed down on the inside of the receiver tube opening, so your suspended accessories like your cargo carriers or bike racks, and that's going to be 900 pounds. So I really don't worry about your cargo carrier or bike racks exceeding that. Now this can be used with a weight distribution hitch. The numbers are going to stay exactly the same at that 6,900, but you do have that ability to get a little bit better towing experience. Now you do want to check the vehicle's owner's manual to make sure that the vehicle is capable of towing that same number. Compare that with the hitch capacity and take the lower of those two. That way you stay safe. Now when choosing a ball mount or accessories, you do want to make sure that you have clearance so it doesn't hit your rear fascia, especially those cargo carriers and bike racks. Some of them fold up, and you want to make sure that it's going to be able to do that on here. So from the center of the hitch pin hole to the furthest point of the rear fascia, we're looking at about 3 inches. So it sticks out a decent amount. You shouldn't worry too much about it making contact. Now, when choosing ball mounts, you need to know if you need a rise or drop for your trailer. And this one here is looking like it's 13 inches. So your suspended accessories with loaded, 13 inches is a decent amount of clearance, but keep that in mind when you go up a hill. Those are going to tilt down towards the ground. So just, you don't want to damage your accessories. So if you're going up a sharp incline, think about those. And also with that height, you're going to be able to determine if you need a rise or a drop, depending on the coupler height of your trailer. You'll be happy to hear that the installation process of this is super easy. You have factory weld nuts underneath your vehicle, and so really this just kind of goes in place and bolts up. You do have to trim a little bit of your rear fascia just to make clearance for the hitch, but really this is pretty easy to do in your driveway or garage in probably about 15-20 minutes. So let's take a look at that. I'm going to walk you through all the steps, that way you can get your hitch installed. Now we're going to begin our installation by lowering down our spare tire, and that's going to give us clearance to be able to get our hitch up. And if you've never lowered your spare tire on here, you're going to open up your hatch, and in your cargo cover under here, you're going to find a 21mm bolt, which works perfectly with the tool that's included in your toolkit. Now there's going to be a little panel cover here. You're just going to twist this, and using our lug nut tool here, this is going to fit on that 21mm. So just rotate this counterclockwise until you have your spare tire lowered down, then you can get it out of the way. In the instruction manual, it's going to tell you that you need to lower the muffler down. I don't think we need to. I've mocked it up and I'm pretty sure we have access. Now it may get a little bit tight, so if you do want to lower your exhaust to make it a little easier, you can. You're just going to take a pry bar. You can put some soapy water or silicone to pop this off, and that's going to kind of drop this down. But I should be able to get my hitch in place as well as our hardware into our weld nuts. Now we do need to trim to give us access for our hitch to kind of slide up in this area. So part of this rear fascia here will be trimmed. In the instruction manual, they're going to give you dimensions that you can follow. I mocked mine up and just kind of marked on the outside edge of the hitch, and that way it's nice and tight around there. So as far as cutting this out, using a multi-tool, an oscillating tool like I have here is really nice. A Dremel works. You do have kind of 2 layers of plastic here where this clip is. So just kind of whatever works best for you, any cutting tool, just kind of go along this edge. Using a paint tape or a painter's tape just kind of gives it a nice clean line. So we can always trim a little more if we have to, but we'll go ahead and make our cuts. So now I'm just going to go back with the blade of a knife and just kind of get these burrs off. If you have a file, that works as well, but just kind of give it a cleaner look. Now our hitch is going to bolt up to these weld nuts, but we need to make sure that these aren't coated with anything just from road grime or corrosion. Now this is a fairly new vehicle at this point. These thread in pretty easily, but if you are running into any hesitation or it just doesn't want to go, you don't want to damage those threads. What I recommend is using a tube brush, kind of clean that out. You can use a little bit of penetrating oil and just kind of go through and clean out any of that debris, and it's just going to make it a lot easier to get your hardware in place. We're going to get our hitch up in place, and we're just going to line it up with those weld nuts, but you're going to want to have your hardware handy. So we have our bolts with a conical tooth washer. Now these teeth are going to bite into the metal on the hitch, so make sure that you have those washers facing the proper way. And I'm going to just feed it up over the exhaust real quick and just try to get both sides at least hand tightened. So you are going to kind of have to tuck it here into that slot that we cut. And then just kind of get the hardware started on any of the holes. One on each side should hold the hitch in place. And that way it's going to support itself, making it easier to get the rest of the hardware in. Now with these hand tightened in place, I'm going to go ahead and snug them down. And then we're going to be coming back with our torque wrench. Now it's not a particularly high torque setting, so you don't have to get crazy here if you're using an impact. You just want this nice and snug. Go through and tighten these all down. Now the torque settings are found in the instruction manual, and we're going to just go through and just torque all of the same hardware down. Now if you need a torque wrench, we have these available here at eTrailer. You can generally rent them at an auto parts store. But this is going to make sure that it's going to be tight enough to hold it in place for the lifespan of the hitch, and also not going to be too tight, causing any stress on the weld nuts or the threads. With everything tightened and torqued, all that's left to do is get our spare tire back up, our tools put away up top, and then we're ready to start using our hitch. And that was a look and installation of the CURT Trailer Hitch receiver on a 2022 Nissan Pathfinder.